Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den, blogger of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts of Between Taminas and Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends watching on YouTube and also those watching on Orion Neighborhood Television. We got Ian Locke this week. Big week for you. Big week for you.
Huge.
Food drive this weekend, and basically everything. You know what I mean? That's a big weekend. The food drive this weekend.
Huge week, Sam. Of course. Yep. Thank you for having me back again. The huge food drive's coming up on Saturday the 10th. We've talked about it the last couple weeks, and I'm sure people who've tuned into on TV have seen the promos running on the channel. And right now we have about $2,000 of raffle items on display here at ONTV. So if you donate $5 or 5 cans of food, you can get into our raffle drawings, including a cordless leaf blower from Home Depot.
You know, it looked good in the snow. It really would. Seriously.
It would work good in the snow. I didn't even think about that.
Especially in fluffy snow.
Absolutely. I've seen that out there. We also have about a $300 package of beauty items from Do or Die Salon, which is huge. $40 gift certificate to G's Pizza. You can't go wrong with that. And plus others. A nice pearl necklace from Simply Marcella down in the Village, which is absolutely stunning. And that one's pretty popular already. We have people already in the raffle for that. But we already started collecting food, and we've got about 400 pounds of food out in the hallway. Hopefully more coming. Our goal is 6,000 pounds. If you want to drop off any food, you can do it at the Orion Township offices and the Village of Lake Orion. If you're a student at Lake Orion High School, you can drop it off with Mr. Smith at the TV studio. And we're just looking for a big haul. So, yep.
I'd like to talk about a little bit because we got a lot to go over, of course.
We do some interesting games.
Yeah, and still the football coaching job of Troy Athens, what I hear, is still open right now. So we'll keep an eye on that job. But I want to talk a lot about boys basketball. I want to recap the game, or what was supposed to be the game.
What a dud.
What a dud that became out. Clarkston and Hazel Park, down at Hazel Park, everything was right, you know what I mean? It was all filled up. It was sold out, standing room only.
Oh my gosh.
Then of course, Clarkston just went and destroyed Hazel Park as expected.
Yeah.
I called it.
You
and
did.
Basically said it was gonna be a blowout, and it was a blowout.
It wasn't you called it.
It wasn't even
Sam.
close.
No.
Clarkston went on a 20-0 run. You know, basically blowing the game wide open, basically forcing Hazel Park to shoot jump shots, and that is not Hazel Park's MO. And Hazel Park had an awful shooting night, basically, and you end up getting a 70-39 blowout. But what was shocking to me was 39 points that Hazel Park only scored. And normally this is a team that scores in the high 70s.
Yeah, but you called it. The big man in the middle for the Wolves.
Here, yeah. I
5
knew he would
blocks.
dominate.
He just
18 points.
Crazy.
They just had no answer for the lawyer either. 34 points.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, but
well, the funny thing with Lawyer was, wasn't he over for the first 2 shots, and they started chanting overrated, then he ripped off 30 straight.
It chanted overrated, and basically shot 2 air balls.
Yeah.
You know, his Park people were chanting overrated and
then
all
he
that,
went off.
and then he went off. I mean, basically that's what happened there. But let's go dive deeper in the game. Hazel Park's a team that usually averages over 70 points.
Yeah.
And they did have a bounce back on Saturday with the win against Benton Harbor. But everybody's going to talk about was what happened to Hazel Park. They were at home, had Clarkston where they wanted them, but they only shot, I think, 15% from the field. And that's bad when you look at
against any competition, let alone the number one team.
Number one team in the state.
Yeah.
But if I'm Hazel Park, you know, this is disappointing, to say the least, because, you know, you had everything you wanted. You had Clarkston at home. You had them in your place, and all of a sudden you play out that performance. How does that make Brendan Barrett feel? How does it make the guys, especially on that team with David Hearns, Carl Bowe, you know, Devin Pettis? I mean, how do they make those, especially because Hazel Park was a team that's working on the way. They had a really rough year first year. Then the last 4, and then they're building up to be this type of team. and then you play Clarkston, you have the top team in the state there, and then you basically get blown out by 'em.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like you and I were chatting. It's like, what team's going to show up? Are they going to be the kids that are so hungry for it, and they're at home, and the energy is going to drive them to a W, or are they going to go, how do we handle adversity with a team against Clarkston? And obviously, they didn't handle it real
Well,
well.
this is shocking because Hazel Park played a really vicious schedule. They beat East English Village
Yeah.
Prep. They beat all those Detroit teams, and yet against Clarkston, they only they lay an egg against Clarkston.
But it could be hype too. The hype is so big that can get to you. Yes, you have them at home, but it's still the mighty Clarkston. Can you get through them? And all it takes is, like maybe your best player, he's not clicking right away, and
Well,
it can throw the whole team off. And go, uh-oh.
Hazel Park's got a ton of talented players, but the problem is everything worked against them. And you look at the depth, you look at the lack of depth that
Size,
affected them.
dude, size.
That affected them. I mean,
Oh, that was what you were talking about.
Mhm.
Their short bench. So, I mean, a lot of fouls called, or was it just good defense?
it was Hazel Park got called for a lot of fouls. I mean,
Okay.
they had 10 fouls early on.
And you predicted that.
I thought it. I mean,
Foul trouble.
it clearly was foul trouble. You know what I mean? And everything I mentioned. Taylor Curie, he was dominant against them. He had 18 points, 15 boards,
5 blocks.
5 blocks. Yep. And Clarkson was just locked in. The hot start, it really fueled him. When you look at it.
And that was almost the difference in the game, that run. And
Well, that was the difference.
I mean, 20 points.
They went on it was 31-6 with 4:32
Oy.
left. So what does that say? What does that say?
Clarkston was hot.
Clarkson was hot. That was their game plan. Was they needed a hot start. They got it against a team that was running with a lot of confidence. Now it was a very interesting quote here from Brendan Barrett, the head coach of Hazel Park. He said this about Clarkson. He said they did a really good job of help side defense and playing on the midline. That was the best defense we have seen all year.
Mm-hmm. I read
Clarkson can make people look bad.
that. They can make you look silly.
People look silly. They even make good teams look
Yeah.
silly. You look at the teams that they beat. You know what I mean? They didn't look great against Fort Carmen Ainsworth. They definitely didn't look great against Detroit East English Village Prep.
Yeah.
In the game against Lake Orion, they made them look silly. And then of course, this game with Hazel Park, they've even made. They made some teams look bad.
Yeah.
West Bloomfield, they made them look bad. Heck, even Hazel Park. They shut down the midline, shut down the dribble drive, and made them forced to shoot jump shots. If you're not shooting jump shots, you're not winning this game. When you look at in Clarkston's losses, Detroit East English Village Prep and Southfield Arts and Tech last year. Southfield Arts and Tech shot jump shots. They dribble drives against Alderson and Curie, and then of course with Detroit East English Village Prep, it was the Julius that went off.
We're talking about the big guy for Clarkston in the middle. It's like, can you get him in foul trouble? Nope.
You can't.
And then
It's hard.
what's the game plan if you try to dribble drive and he's there swatting it out of the sky?
Mm-hmm.
What's plan B?
What?
Mid-range jumpers. If they're not going, then you're pushing it out even further.
Mm-hmm.
And who's the one defender that Hazel Park's coach was riding so high on, saying, "How is this guy not getting any attention?"
I think it is
Like D2
you're talking about Clarkson, CJ Robinson.
Yeah.
CJ Robinson.
And they said he had a phenomenal game.
I heard a rumbling Oakland was looking at him.
Really?
I heard rumors.
Well, good
Oakland
for
was
him. I
looking at
hope
him.
so.
I hope he gets offered there. I think he deserves to get offered to go to Oakland. I think he would make a great fit for Greg Campy's team.
Yeah, and
TJ Robinson. I think he is a very underrated, underappreciated player.
that's
when
what
you
everybody.
look at.
Well, you got so many stars shining
Mhm.
around you. It's easy to get lost in the in the
It's
glare.
kind of funny, and I think he's accepting that role. He's. I don't need to be the star player.
Yeah.
I just do my job, and everything is fine. That's what a lot of these players at Clarkston are accepting their roles over there.
Yep.
Basically, you're looking at, you have Lawyer, you have Curie there,
Mhm.
and then of course you have and now you have Robinson, you have Nick Wells who's playing well. Then you have Trishan Meissen. You know what I mean? A lot of I've criticized Clarkson. I have really, really criticized them
Yes, you have.
because of the transfers they get.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they have a JV team out there that is right now sitting at 7-1 right now. I mean, in the league, and their loss was Detroit. Detroit's a very good team, by the
Yeah.
way. I'm JV, but you look at the status of Clarkston's program. I mean, their program is not only built for this current
Yeah.
team, but also in the long run. When you look at the middle school program Clarkston's got, there's a younger lawyer down there. There's
Oh,
a younger Wasilic
there's
down there.
another one
There's
coming?
another one coming. Yes, I mean,
Boy, oh boy.
so when you look at Clarkston, and we don't know how long Dan Fife's going to be there. I mean, we really don't know how much longer he's got.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, he retired from the schools, right?
he
So
retired as an
that's all
athletic
he's doing
director,
is
but he's still coaching the team. You know what I mean?
He's just coaching.
Yeah, he's coaching right now. You know what I mean? But when you look at Clarkston, I mean, they're built for the future. When you
Yeah.
look at all these other teams, you know what I mean? But back to the game with Hazel Park. I mean, back to Hazel Park. I mean, it was a great atmosphere in that gym. It was a great atmosphere. When you look at what happened. I mean, do you think in your mind that should Hazel Park has got to, I think, got to get bigger. You know what I mean? Their
Yeah.
gym size. I mean, like, I
You-
don't think you've been down there. I've been down there. It's a really small gym.
But sometimes that atmosphere is what the school likes. It's part of the character. It's part of the. I'm not say if they're building a mystique down there at Hazel Park, but it's when you have a small barn like that, it can lead to it could be intimidating to others because the crowd is so smashed on top of you that it could be a +1 for you.
And it's very interesting. It's people arrive there 2 hours before tip off.
2 hours?
Seats. You know what I mean?
My word.
That's what it tells you. How
That was
small, how cramped that.
Well, how small, but also the massiveness of that game is probably the biggest game. You mentioned it a week ago.
It was in Hazel Park's history.
Biggest
game in
one ever.
And then yet Hazel Park laid an egg.
Yeah,
And they laid an egg.
that happens.
Yep.
No, here's the question: how do they respond? Do they are
They beat Benton Harbor.
they're not out of it?
No, they're not out of
Right?
it.
So, and the
They're tied
rematch
for
is
first. It's March 1st at Clarkston.
boom. There you go. How do you respond to that?
The question's going to be is, will Hazel Park, do you know that they're going to have a fan bus down there? They're going to bring a fan bus, to what I've been hearing, to go out to Clarkston. It's going to be
That's great.
It's going to be a tough matchup for Hazel Park. I mean, the last time they went to Clarkston just laid a whooping on them.
Yeah.
66-46. Now, when you're looking at it, people are saying, well, is Hazel Park for real? Is Hazel Park for real? But then people in Clarkston's eyes are saying, no, they're not. Because, they went and beat them down there.
Yeah.
Blew them out in their own gym.
Yeah.
And basically what they're saying is, and March 1st, that's going to say a lot if Hazel Park is for real, because, Hazel Park not only is in a, they're not only still in the race, but they still got a really tough district coming up when you look at the likes of Detroit University, Detroit Jesuits in there, Detroit Renaissance in there. I mean, like, you look at and then you look at others in there like Oak Park, who's having a really nice year.
Yeah.
I mean, Berkley, I want to talk about Berkley in a couple minutes because they lost to Harrison.
They did?
Is not very good. They lost by 5 to 1.
Oh my!
We'll talk about them in a little
Berkeley
bit.
having a hard time.
They're having a little bit of a troubling time right now down there.
Well, if you're looking at Hazel Park and Clarkston, it's almost like if Clarkston roll into the gym, they've been under pressure situations before that team. They've gone to the state finals and won the dang thing.
Yep.
Right? So you're going to have to really put something in front of them that's going to intimidate this team. I don't think they can get intimidated. I think if they're going to be damaged, in the win-loss column, usually they hurt themselves.
Usually they do hurt themselves.
You know what I mean?
But when I look at that district, when I look at their Clarkson's district, the only team I think that could really give them problems is Lake Orion. I mean, and they beat Lake Orion earlier in the year. I mean, that's the only team I can see in that district that could give them problems. I mean, people are going to say, well, Oxford can give them problems. No, they can't. I mean, when I look at Holly, no, they won't give Clarkston problems.
Well, that's a contrast.
Brandon definitely won't give them problems.
That's a contrast in districts, isn't it? For Hazel Park,
Hazel Park's got a really brutal district. For
I mean,
people saying at Clarkston, it's not a great district for them. But I think Lake Orion could give them trouble. But when you look
They gotta
at
have almost a perfect game,
almost, yeah, I
and
agree.
Clarkston's gotta falter some way.
Well, there is a way to beat him. There is a way to beat him, but I'm not, going to say much into that. But when you look at what happened in that game, though, for Hazel Park, and everybody says Hazel Park's got a shot to win that district. You know what I mean? Even though they did beat Detroit University, Detroit Jesuit earlier in the year, they beat Detroit. They beat Detroit Renaissance. I mean, you really look at Hazel Park. I mean, the only thing I think UAD Jesuit will get him this time. I really do. I don't know if Hazel Park has the firepower to win that district this time around
Yeah.
because of Detroit University Church Jesuit. Of course, they just got Jalen Thomas back from he transferred back from Nevada, and
No.
now he's
What, an
back.
academy out there or something?
Well, he didn't like the atmosphere down there. He on the west coast. He had a
The
talk
middle of
with
the
his
desert,
mom.
yeah.
He had talked with his mom and said, I want to come back. You know what I mean? And Michigan made him eligible. You know what I mean? So
They made him
they
eligible?
made him eligible.
So what's the difference? He came back for academic reasons. I don't wanna get into that again.
We ain't getting there.
You know?
We ain't going there.
We lived there long enough.
Yeah, we've been there
Well
long
well,
enough.
do you
with the
think,
Kitchener situation.
after that game, Clarkson is, entrenched as the team to beat? Are they
you
the
know-
number one?
I think they are, and here's why. Because, I'm gonna use a quote from Ric Flair. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Gotta love Ric
And-
Flair.
And right now, Clarkston is the team to beat. Is there some teams that can beat him? Sure. You got to look at, is there anybody that can give Clarkson problems? There is a couple teams that can give Clarkson problems. East English obviously beat
Yeah.
him, but they got a very vicious district because they got Detroit Cass Tech and Detroit Martin Luther King, I think, are in that district. I mean, in their future district.
Yeah.
And then you look at Ann Arbor Skyline, maybe. I don't know if they will have the horses. I don't think Canton's beating them.
Anybody on the west side? Let's say they skate through districts and roll. Do you see anybody on the west side that could?
I don't think there's anybody in the west side that can beat Clarkson. I really don't think there's anybody in the west side that could give them the problems that I would say possibly a Detroit team could give them problems for sure because of their athleticism.
Yeah.
But Clarkson's just on a different mindset right now, the way they are.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, they're a well-oiled machine.
They're wa-
It's the same
yeah,
crew
it's
again. And
basically the same crew again, except minus Dylan Alderson. They were supposed to have Kittier
yeah,
replace Alderson, but that did
They
not
have-
happen.
they haven't missed a beat though.
They haven't missed a beat. And do I think there's maybe Carmen Ainsworth that they get him again? Clarkson played Carmen Ainsworth earlier in the year.
hmm
I think Carmen Ainsworth could give Clarkson another game. I mean, they did give him one down there at Clarkson. I mean, I was reading on Twitter. Of course, there's they had that game on the radio station over there in the Mid Michigan area called ESPN 100.9 FM.
Oh, really?
Yep, they had that game called. Brad Toomey was the radio voice for that game, and
Boy,
that
I
was
I would have tuned into that one online if we knew that was coming.
yeah. I mean, but still, I mean, you got to give I mean, right now, I don't think there's anybody that's touching Clarkson
Yeah.
right now. I really don't think there's anybody that's touching them right
Until
now.
you knock them off, they're still the top dog.
That's true. That is true. Let's go to other games. I mean, I want to
Yeah.
talk about Lake Orion Farmington, that game. That was a heck
I
of a
understand
game.
there was some contention.
There was I think and it was a good game in that one too. You got to give it was a 84-80 Farmington win over Lake Orion. In overtime, a lot different from the game at Lake Orion, 70-51 was that
Yeah.
score. But Lake Orion had an 8-point lead. Lake could not hold it. I think a lot of it had to come down to the officiating in that game. I heard it was a Wayne County crew that officiated that game. And do you think that officiating going from county to county, you know what I mean? Do you think that if this was an OA crew, I think that this is a much different game.
You think so?
I think it's a much different game.
It-
I think Lake Orion wins that game. But when you look at how that game recapped, Ray Bryan at 39 points to lead Farmington. For Lake Orion, Nate Talbot at 37.
Wow.
And Jamie Lewis at 23. So when you look at
And you lose.
And that's a really bad way to lose, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Especially if you're Lake Orion. But I kind of thought a lot of people will tell me the officiating was to blame, but Farmington right now is red hot right now, the way they've been playing. I mean,
I'm not big on blaming refs because the other team, unless well, I say the other team has to play with the same referees.
but when
It's,
you look at the
but
free
you go
throw
like,
differential,
and that bothers me somewhat. I'd have to see the style of play that was if Lake Orion was settling for jump shots, and they're not driving the lane, and they're not earning those trips to the line.
well, this is going to be one that's bothering me right now. It's the free throws,
Yeah, but you
Farmington was
earn them, right?
Farmington was 24 for 38. They had 38 free throw attempts.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Lake Orion only 12 for 18.
Yeah,
That tells me something right there.
it's a lot. So
That tells me something right there. And
are they calling it tight?
they didn't have a free throw attempt in the second half. Lake Orion did
Not
not.
one in the second
Not one in the
half.
second half for an overtime. So when you look at,
Lake Orion turned the ball over a ton in the back end.
well, I mean,
Because if they turn the ball over, you don't have those shot opportunities to earn your way to the line.
well, a lot of that, basically you got to look at, how the game was
Yeah,
officiated. You know what
because
I mean? So
yeah,
basically it kind of looks like, basically it looks to me like there was a borderline screw job going on
yeah,
over there, and when you look at people, yeah, people are going to get on the officials. I
yeah,
get it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But, you know,
And full disclosure, Sam, you're wearing a Lake Orion shirt today, just
especially
like I am.
especially in the in that type of game.
Yeah,
Basically when you still have a lot on the line, you know what I mean? Lake Orion was a game back of Rochester heading in that one. Now they're two back, tied with Farmington. Farmington plays Rochester on Friday at Farmington. So that'll
so
be
that's
really interesting.
favorable. Yeah.
So that'll be interesting right there. And then of course Lake Orion plays Rochester next Tuesday. So that'll be
Okay.
really interesting.
So your question was, should the crews jump county to county?
Should
Is
I
that
think the
an
crew
issue?
should jump counties?
I don't know. I mean, you ask it. I don't know. I think a ref is a ref is a ref. Yeah, I've had some, that you're like, who is this person? Like they never saw the game before, and you're watching it and you're questioning everything. But I'm not going to say I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the referees because they are refs and they do make mistakes. We've seen games
Yes,
where
they do.
the great ones are the great crews are the ones you remember as who are those guys? I don't remember the names.
Mhm.
But the ones that the names of the crew after the game,
Yeah.
yeah, then you go, I don't want to see those jokers again, right?
Yeah, and
But
I think when you look
it's
at it,
tough unless you saw how Lake Orion was playing. It was a lot of turnovers, or was it a lot of press
a lot
defense,
of
or
press
what is it?
defense, what I heard in that game, a lot of press defense, kind of was shocking to see that, basically it was 69-69
Hmm.
when they went to overtime,
Okay.
and it was 15-11 basically. Of course, both Bryant and Talbot both had bit monster games. I
Yeah.
mean, like you really look at that, and now let's look at Farmington now.
Yeah.
Farmington, they're red hot right now. Of
Yeah.
course, they beat Groves the other night at Little Caesars Arena.
Oh,
Basically,
I didn't know they had a game down there.
yep, they did, and they
That's pretty cool.
now they've won 4 straight games, heading into their big one, Rochester.
Yeah.
Of course, Farmington could do a lot of people big favors in the Blue Division. They beat Rochester on Friday night.
Yep.
Basically, and if Lake Orion can hold serve on Thursday against Pontiac, I mean, like then you basically would be, and then that sets up the big one
Yeah.
on Tuesday between Lake Orion and Rochester.
Yeah, it's kind of getting the nitty gritty, dude.
It's kind of getting to the nitty gritty. You know what I mean, in the league race in the Blue Division.
But that makes it exciting, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, you like runaway wins to the championship, but every game means something.
Mhm.
That makes it fun.
Mhm.
That's what high school sports is all about.
And then when you look at the white, it's basically Oak Park and Troy Athens. Of
Yeah.
course, Oak Park right now is rolling. Both of them are tied, but Oak Park's got Troy Athens actually's got the tiebreaker because
Oh.
they went into Oak Park and beat them, earlier in the year. And now Oak Park's gonna have to make the trip down to Troy to take on Troy Athens, and that's gonna be a really interesting matchup to say the least.
Yeah.
Between the Knights and the Redhawks. Of course, the Redhawks are a senior heavy team, and the Knights, of course, are a young team, but they're well coached. I mean, you look at that matchup, that's going to be a really interesting matchup. I think that's happening on Thursday. So when
Good.
you look at that
A
matchup,
lot
that's
of
for the white title. And basically, everybody else has been,
beating each other up.
beating each other
Yeah.
up. You know what I mean? When you look at the standings right now, I mean, you know who's last place in the white right now? Oxford.
It's surprising.
It's surprising.
It is surprising. Are the road woes still continuing with that team?
Well, Oxford lost 2 at home this week. They lost one, and they lost to Groves in triple overtime.
Oh, that
81
heartbreaker.
to 70. Yep. And then they lost to Adams, where they just got destroyed by 20 points. And when you look at the white, Adams right now is a solid third place team right now. You got Avondale, then you have Groves, Seaholm, then you have Stony Creek, and then of course you have Oxford. I mean, the white right now, a lot of parity in that division.
Yeah.
A lot of parity. But there's one team I want to talk about before we go into the break.
Yes.
And that's the Berkley Bears.
Yeah, what happened?
We talked about
reality.
Berkley. Reality's starting to strike in on Joe Sermo's team. And they got
I was pulling for the Bears.
They got beat 59-54 to Harrison. To Harrison.
It happens.
To Harrison? I mean, for goodness sakes. You have you have experience on this team. I mean, when I look at that score, I'm saying to myself, what are you doing?
What happened?
What happened?
But
what happened?
It happens, though. I mean, teams lose.
So I was talking to
How's their team? They have a short bench. They get some injuries. Nothing.
They're a deep team. I was talking to Joe Sermo the other day.
Yes.
And I'm asking him, what happened to you guys? What happened? And he told me, straight out. And he told me he was honest with me. Just didn't show up ready to play. And it happens.
Yes.
It happens. But when you look at the game, how that unfolded against Harrison, Harrison's terrible. Harrison's awful. I mean,
what was Harrison's record rolling into that contest?
They were coming in at 2-11 coming in.
Oh boy.
And Berkley, you look at their losses.
Berkley just made Harrison's season.
You look at what happened in that one. I know Berkley was struggling a little bit. They were
well, they lost 2 straight, or 2 or 3.
They lost 2 or 3, and then they lost to Farmington, which makes it 3 or 4, and then now they've lost 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And you look at, of course, the 2 or 3, 3 or 4. I mean, the 3 or 4, to Lake Orion, Rochester, Farmington. Those are not bad losses. You know what I mean, to look at them, because I think those 3 teams are better than Berkley. But Harrison.
Well,
Harrison played Star International Academy a few weeks ago. Star International
We
Academy.
still haven't figured out who that is.
I did actually find out
you?
where they were. They're academy that's located in Dearborn.
Okay.
So
they rolled up from Dearborn and
played Harrison. I mean, but what? I mean, I'm just left for words. I mean, I'm lost here for words, Ian. To think what in the world happened to Berkley, because Berkley, they got a ton of experience on that team. You look at a guy like Greg McGee. You have Holloway on that team. You have Surma on that team. I mean, and of course you have the big and Charles Tolley on that team. And yet you lose to Harrison? A team, in my opinion, is probably the most disorganized team in the league. Are you serious? I mean, I could bet you Joe Sermo had to be just humiliated, and I don't blame him for being humiliated.
Well, I know one thing: if he said they didn't show up, I mean, right? That's what basically they said is he didn't show. Didn't come ready to play. I bet you they're running. He's going to put them through the paces and say, "Hey, you're not going to show up. We'll work you, because you have to bounce back. If you're 4 of 5, or what was it, 3 of 4 going into that one?
3 of 4, you've lost.
If you're 3 of 4, is their confidence starting to wane? I mean, they were riding sky high
They were riding
undefeated.
sky
What,
high
10-0 or
yeah,
whatever it was?
They were 10-0 until Rochester beat them. And then of course, they had to survive Royal Oak,
Yeah.
which was they had to survive that one. And then of course they beat and then they lost to Lake Orion, lost to Farmington, lost to Harrison. Now they're home with Royal Oak on Thursday. They are home with Royal Oak, and that's a big one for Berkley.
It
because
is, yeah.
they need that game real bad. And Royal Oak right now, when you look at them, they've been really up and down. When you look at, they had a nice one against Mount Clemens. But then they had a loss to but then they had a horrible loss to they had a bad loss to Lake Orion, of course, and then they had a really they had a tough loss to somebody. I gotta look at who they lost to. But what I'm saying to you is Berkley, they better win this game against Royal Oak because right now it looks like to me their confidence looks shot.
Yeah.
And their schedule doesn't get any easier because they got Farmington still got to play at Berkley. They got to go to Lake Orion. They got to go to Rochester. And those are not going to be fun trips for them.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there, dude. Confidence. It's like they're riding high on the 10-0. You lose a game. Okay, you lose a couple, then you go, oh, there's another one.
But then I mentioned this a few weeks ago. You're not conference schedule.
Yeah.
They're non-conference schedule, and I think this is where their non-conference is hurting them. Because you look at that team, you're riding high, you're undefeated, you're talking about first time since 1984, and then all of a sudden, you're playing against Rochester, a team that's played a tougher schedule, non-conference than you. Lake Orion's played a tougher non-conference schedule than you, and Farmington's played a tougher non-conference schedule than you, and you lose to those three teams. But
it does come back to what you said that from day one, and I think I was countering with, well, maybe the coach knows his team well, so he scheduled that non-conference schedule for a reason, to give them some confidence, because, right, they got a freshman point guard. Isn't that the dude? Who's their point guard?
Well,
don't they have a young team, or is Berkley rolling on some old dudes?
They got experience. They're not old, though. But they got
a ton
of
maybe
experience.
he
You're
knows
talking about You're talking about Adams. Adams.
Okay. So maybe the coach knows his team and said, hey, we better schedule something pretty easy because maybe they're not ready. That's just me talking. But
they played Madison. They played Bishop Foley. Those two teams, they're okay teams.
Yeah.
They're okay teams. When you look at Madison, they're okay in the MAC Silver. And then you look at Bishop Foley, they're all right in the Catholic League. What I'm saying to you is, should have Berkley had toughened up their non-conference, and maybe Harrison doesn't happen to him.
Yeah, it could.
Maybe Harrison doesn't happen to him. When you look at...
But the Harrison game hopefully isn't going to be the end of their season, and they go on this tear down the standings.
And then of course you look at the sketch, and then you look at their district down the stretch. It is brutal. When you look at, of course, they're in that district with Hazel Park, Detroit Church Jesuit, Detroit Renaissance, Oak Park. Oh my God, it's going to be tough for Joe Thermal's team. But they got to get something fixed down there. On Catalpa, because I'm telling you right now, they cannot let this Harrison loss get to them. Yeah. Because if they do, it's going to be bad, and it has to start with Royal Oak because they have to win that game, and if they don't win that game, it could be doom. And when you look at...
you don't want the wheels to fall off the bus.
Oh, and I got some breaking news to tell you, too. We got some breaking news.
We'll do it after the break?
Yeah, we got a break, and then we'll do some breaking news.
Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Back after this timeout.
Yep.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Oakland County is consistently ranked as one of the wealthiest counties in the nation, so it may come as a surprise to many when they find out that hunger is an ever-increasing problem in this area. Oxford Orion Fish Food Pantry does what it can to help battle hunger, but it needs your help. More than 350 individuals depend on the food pantry on a monthly basis, with over 15,000 pounds of food going out the door every month. 145,000 pounds of food helped feed the area's hungry in 2014 alone. The food pantry depends on annual food drives and the generosity of community organizations and businesses to help keep their shelves stocked.
I think we have more peaks than we really do valleys. This year we've been doubly, just very, very fortunate. Our stock has been wonderful. Food drives have been, I think it's like 25,000 pounds of food. We got from one food drive another 20,000. That is a good portion of the food that we put out a year. And then people bring in every day. They will come in with bags of food that they want to donate. And it's just, we couldn't be in a better community. I'll tell you, it's just wonderful.
A single individual is limited to 50 pounds of food each month. A family of 7, 180 pounds. In addition to canned and dry goods, the pantry also needs household items such as soap, shampoo, toothpaste, and laundry detergent. Cash donations allow the pantry to purchase perishable items such as meat, bread, dairy, and fresh fruits and vegetables.
Fruit is more seasonal in the summer, like berries and things like that. But we're trying to give them a fresher, healthier choice. We have frozen chicken breasts, and that's a nice treat once in a while. Roasts and steaks and ground beef and all that stuff. So, and we just buy what we need. We fill in what does not get donated.
There are numerous drop-off locations established throughout the Oxford and Orion area that collect food year-round, such as the Lake Orion Post Office, Hollywood Market, and area churches. For a complete list or for contact information, visit their website at oxfordorionfish.org or give them a call at 248-628-3933.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. We got some breaking news here to tell everybody here about. Coming out of Ferndale, of course, DeAndre Bonaparte is no longer an Eagle, according to a Twitter post read by Endless Motorsports. Of course, the tweet read, "Big addition for E-Course basketball. 2019 guard/forward DeAndre Bonaparte has officially transferred from Ferndale and will suit up for the Red Raiders next year. Skill guard will immediately bring perimeter scoring and playmaking ability." Of course, they said with his Twitter feed, Kia Dre was his Twitter feed. Of course, this is an interesting loss for Ferndale. Of course, Ferndale played E-Course earlier in the year on December 16th. E-Course beat Ferndale 64-54, and now Bonaparte is now leaving Ferndale to go to E-Course. So it's a big loss for Ferndale on paper. But when you look at Ferndale, you know what I mean? They got some quality players on Tom Stanton's team. So they might be better off maybe without Bonaparte.
You think so?
I think they may be, because you're still a junior heavy team. When you look at Keelan Lucas, Will Scott, Tiana McKeithen, of course, I remember him. He killed Lake Orion in that game. He had 23 against the Dragons in that game, and then of course he had him 20, I believe, against Farmington. And of course they have Brian Pozio, who's that 3-point shooter. You can go outside and just shoot threes. So basically, Ferndale right now they sit they're 5-8 right now. 4-4 in the blue. They're gonna go on a road trip, you know what I mean, of course. But for Ferndale, I think this hurts them long term, because they're in a district that involves Birmingham Detroit Country Day, and losing Bonaparte, I think, is gonna hurt them in the long run, because I think they were really Detroit Country Day's true only challenger. Maybe Cranbrook Kingswood could get involved against Detroit Country Day, but still, I mean, that's a really, really tough task, to say the least. So. Yeah. Big loss for Ferndale. Of course, we're keeping an eye on that once we get more information on that situation.
You think those ADs are going to sign off?
Yeah, they've already have. To what
it's
I
all
hear.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's preview wrestling, of course, and then we'll go
wrestling. All right.
Yep. Let's preview the wrestling ones. Of course, there's really One district, you got District 10. We're going to preview each district. Of course, District 105, for one, it's a two-team district because Waterford Kettering and Waterford Mott merged to become Waterford United, and they're taking on Clarkston.
When did they merge?
I don't know when they merged. They merged this year.
Wow.
Do you think Waterford's got a chance against Clarkston? Yes or no?
I don't know. I don't know enough to speak on it.
Okay,
I don't think so. If you're merging your teams, that means your numbers are low.
Yep.
That means you're in trouble.
Yep.
Strong wrestling programs years ago over at Mott and Kettering all of a sudden kind of disappeared.
Kind of falling hard
it's very surprising. Mott was a powerhouse at one point.
They ain't beating Clarkston.
Yeah, Clarkston's going.
They ain't beating Clarkston.
Wow.
District 106.1 at Romeo. Do you think any team had a chance to knock Oxford off?
No.
There's Romeo, Port Huron Northern. Port Huron Northern,
Maybe,
not too much.
No. I would say Oxford's got the pedigree. They've got the horses. I think they take it.
107.1 at Orion. You got Orion versus Adams, Rochester versus Stony Creek. Do you think
it's a little more balanced?
It's a little more balanced, but do you think Lake Orion has a chance here?
As a team?
Yes.
I think they may have a couple individuals, but I don't know as a team. I don't know.
I got Adams winning that. I'm projected to win that one. I think Adams a little bit more well-rounded, despite the fact Lake Orion's done really well.
Yeah.
In league, of course, they were third in the league this year, behind Oxford and Clarkston, and I'm really concerned about those voids that they have. Of course, surrounding the teams there. But
yeah, ON TV will have some cameras there for B-roll on that one. Hopefully, we can get some highlights up on ON TV for you guys to view.
This wrestling district here is going to be very interesting. It's one at Troy. Troy taking on Utica Eisenhower. Troy Athens versus Utica. Utica and Utica Eisenhower both have had rough seasons. Troy Athens, of course, in the blue. Troy in the white. I don't have a horse in this race. I'm going with a home team here in this one. I think Troy at home will think it's going to really shine, and I think they'll find a way to win that one. District 126.1. That's at Southfield Arts and Tech, of course. This is a district where the Warriors could have a great chance here, but Seaholm will challenge. You got Seaholm, you got Southfield taking on Brother Ice, and then Groves versus Seaholm. Do you think, is there any team here that could beat Southfield?
I don't know. I think Seaholm's probably going to give him the run.
Yeah, but
tradition,
I think it's going to be too much Southfield in this one, in that district.
Here's a quick question. Are the state finals down at the Palace? Since it's all changed, is it down at LCA? Where are they going to do it?
I'm not sure where they're moving it
because it's been at the Palace forever.
I know. And the Palace is still running.
It is, but I haven't seen, event-wise, I haven't seen any announcements.
It'll be very interesting.
Maybe I'll poke around, see what I can find.
Poke around, yeah. District 127.1, Wall Lake Central, of course. Bloomfield Hills taking on West Bloomfield. North Farmington versus Wall Lake Central. For the OAA, this is going to be a really tall task. I just don't think any team's going to beat Wall Lake Central here in this district. Maybe Bloomfield Hills could have a shot, but I just think at the end of the day, I just think that Wall Lake Central, too much, and they'll win that one. I think it'll be too much there in that one. District 128.1, that's at Warren Cousino. Of course, there's really one superior team in this district, and it's not in the OAA. It's Warren Mott. Of course, Berkley's taking on Warren Cousino. Royal Oak's taking on Warren Mott. I think when you look at this one, I think Warren Mott, too much depth, too much athleticism. They've had a really good season in the MAC this year. If everything comes together, I think it's going to be Warren Mott's district to lose.
Okay.
In that one.
Well, I just poked around on the internet real quick. It looks like the 2018 team finals are at Wings Event Center in Kalamazoo.
Ooh, home of the Kalamazoo Wings.
Yeah, February 23rd and 24th. And then they have the individual 2018 finals at Ford Field. March 2nd and 3rd.
Interesting.
That's a huge venue for that sort of thing.
Yes, it is.
Seems a little large.
It is large, yes. Let's go to District 139-2. It's at Pontiac Notre Dame Preparatory. Of course, Avondale's taking on Pontiac. Then Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, and Pontiac Notre Dame Preparatory. I think Avondale's got a shot in this one. Got a shot, but I just don't think they're going to get by Orchard Lake, St. Mary's. Orchard Lake, St. Mary's had a rough year, but I think they're going to have. I think it's going to be their opportunity to shine when you look at them. District 162.2. That's at Farmington. Harrison taking on Farmington, Detroit, Redford Union, Detroit, Redford, Thurston. When in doubt, go with the home team.
Yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
with Farmington here in this
Yeah.
one. And then the last district, the preview for the team is at Madison Heights, Lampier. Warren Fitzgerald, Hazel Park, Ferndale, Madison Heights, Lampier. When I look at this one, I've read about Warren Fitzgerald. You know what I mean? If they have everything come together, I think they're going to have a great opportunity to win this district. Now, Ferndale could have a say in this, and Madison Heights, Lampier as well. I mean, whoever wins that one, it's going to no doubt be a threat to Warren Fitzgerald. I don't think Fitzgerald's gonna have any problem beating Hazel Park. But whoever wins that Ferndale Lampier matchup, I think is gonna pose some problems. But I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be Madison Heights. It's gonna be Warren Fitzgerald that wins that district and moves on. So when you look at that one, those are the wrestling team district previews.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled up still on the MHSA site talking about the individual districts, which is interesting.
We'll preview those next week.
You want to do that next week?
We'll do that next
Well,
week.
it said it starts on the 10th.
The 10th?
Yeah, I'm looking here. It says February 10th, Saturday in individual
interesting.
districts, if that's correct.
That's interesting.
And it looks like a bunch of the
I gotta pull those up. Pull those up.
I got them right here.
All
I
right.
don't know if I can spin it around. But here we have. It says it's
At Troy,
yeah,
you know what
Troy,
I mean? You have
Clarkston,
Lake
Lake Orion,
Oxford, Port Huron, Northern, Rochester, Stony Creek, Adams, Romeo, Ike, Troy, Athens, Utica, Watford, Kettering, Waterford, Mott.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Waterford. So
Yep.
when I look at that one, that could be really interesting. What did they send Oxford? Because I think Oxford got sent north.
I'm looking.
I think they sent Oxford north because that's
Troy, Grand Haven,
mm-hmm. Because I think
Okemos.
they've got to send Oxford north with Grand Blanc and all them. I think they did.
Are they not Division 2? They should be Division 1.
Division 1. I think they're at
Did I miss
Troy.
one?
I think they're at Troy. You know, so when you look at that one, I mean, like, yeah, they're at Troy.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
so yeah, they're the third.
Yeah,
third
they're at
name
Troy.
there.
So
Yeah,
basically,
usual suspects.
usual suspects are there. You know what I mean? So it'll be very interesting to see what happens at Troy.
Now that would be a fun individual tournament to go to with those
yeah,
guys stacked.
Yeah, but I think
You like team better, don't you?
I like team much better. I really do. And then of course you look at others down there, Division 2. I mean, like, I'll probably write a separate column on that. You know what I mean?
Yep. I was surprised that it is actually individuals first, then team, because I think
no, teams first.
Is that this
teams first
this week though?
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So so I think is it Thursday?
Yep.
This coming Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday
Okay.
are the teams. Yep.
All right, so then individuals on Saturday, the
Right.
10th,
You're
during
right.
the food drive.
During the food drive.
Hey, maybe
yeah.
we get updates during your segment from 3 to 3:30 on the
We
food
could.
drive.
We could. You know, we could. Before we sign off, I want to talk about girls basketball a little bit.
Yeah.
I said a new number one was ranked. I ranked Groves this week.
Ooh.
Of course, Clarkston got beat by Southfield Arts and Tech. Of course, Southfield Arts and Tech. Of course, Clarkston was out Kate Lucan back, but they had to survive Lake Orion. Of course, Clarkston had a
Wow.
1-point game.
You called that too, Sammy. I don't know.
It really.
I don't know what's in the water you're drinking, but you've been hot lately.
But, you know, they had to survive them, of course. But Clarkston lost to Southfield without Kay Lucan back, so that kind of put an asterisk on that. Royal Oak, obviously my number 2 team. Both Groves and Royal Oak have to go to Oxford, which is going to be a really tough match for both teams there. Southfield, of course, you know, I mean, they're starting to get their act together. Getting on their pace to go to that very vicious district coming up. Of course, where they have Groves, Farmington Hills Mercy, North Farmington, and Farmington in there.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the red division, of course, it's still Southfield Arts and Tech, Clarkston, North Farmington definitely is the third best team in there. Bloomfield Hills, they live and die by the 3-point shot. I saw them on Friday hit 10 threes against Lake Orion. You know, that was a big difference. But they're a much different team on the road, though. You know what I mean? When you look at them, they're a much different team on the road. I think, you know, home court was definitely helped them in their game against Lake Orion. I think, you know, when they go on the road, I think it's a little bit of a hassle for them. And it's been a hassle for them on the road. North Farmington, of course, mentioned experience. Best team in the blue, I still think, you know, even though Avondale's won 3 straight, I still think Farmington's the best team in that division beside, and I'm not saying that because I like Farmington's team a lot, especially what they've got. They are, even though they're 11-4, Avondale's 10-2 right now, according to my standings. Oxford mentioned is the third best team
Yeah.
in that white. Stony Creek, of course, they've had a rough year. I mean, then there's like a huge drop off when you look at wins and losses. When you look at them, Stony Creek sits at 4-11 right now. Played a very vicious schedule, as we mentioned. Adams, same thing. They started to get their act together. Of course, they played Utica over the weekend. We don't have a score in that one, but we will get a score on that one. Lake Orion, of course, as mentioned, the depleted lineup. You know what I mean? That's they played much better than the last 2 games.
Yes.
But
a little more energy.
Little more
had
energy.
a chance.
Well, they're playing with nothing to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's pretty much all you got to say about them. You know what I mean? Do they need to make changes in the off season? I still think they do. But you never know with this team. I mean, but you never know. They're playing hard. You know what I mean? They're playing hard. You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens. They got a big one with Adams. Who knows? See what happens with them.
Yep.
West Bloomfield, they're starting to figure things out. Troy Athens, they had a nice win against Troy the other day, 45-43.
Oh boy.
Troy almost came back and knocked them off.
Close games.
Yeah. Berkley's been inconsistent.
A lot of overtime too.
Yeah. Berkley's been inconsistent. They've had 2 bad losses lately. Seaholm's been struggling. They've been playing, even though they've been playing better. Rochester, they haven't played in a while. Hazel Park's an odd team in girls because they got a new staff, experienced team, but they really have not. They've not played above expectations, and I think that's
haven't
really
clicked. Maybe
they haven't. Well,
haven't
it's gelled. I
gelled.
think it's the gelling with the coach and the team with that team. Pretty much very similar to. I think it's very similar to that of Lake Orion's, but when a team and when an experienced team is not gelling with the coach right now, then it takes a year.
We've seen it in other teams.
We've seen it in other teams too. So, Oak Park is 20. I think they're struggling. Ferndale, of course, they had a nice win against Ferndale University the other day. That's their second win of the year. And Pontiac, you know what I mean? They're ranked 22 in the league right now. I think that they're struggling right now with depth issues and some trouble when you look at Pontiac.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But I think right now, clearly, I think when you look at the red division right now, it's Southfield, then it's Clarkston. I think Southfield proved that they're for real.
What was up with Lukenbach at Clarkston? Why was
concussion. Concussion.
During the game?
I don't think
Or
it
a
happened.
game, or-
I think it was during practice in the Lake
boy.
Orion game. So, it wasn't during the Lake Orion game, but I know she got concussed. That's why she was kept out.
That's rough.
And then of course you look at the rest of the red. Of course you have Bloomfield Hills there. You know what I mean? Adams, then you have Lake Orion down there. I mean, like in the but when you look at Lake Orion, I mean, who knows when you look at this team? I mean, you don't know they don't have a star. They don't really have a star, who is going to wow you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're going to have to outwork people.
Well,
They want to be successful.
And that's something we chatted about at the beginning of the season. Well, maybe a third of the way into the season of who's going to step up, who's the leader, who's going to be the one, that field general who's going to say, hey, follow me, I'll take you on my shoulders and let's go.
Right now, when you look at this team, it's really been Peyton Shadiah. You know what I mean? When
Good
you
for
look at
her.
that team, you know what I mean? It's really been her. I mean, that's really been helping this Dragon team out. But they got to get better against pressure, against teams that pressure the ball. They got to get better against
If you're
that.
if you struggle against that, that can be a nightmare scenario for a team.
And it showed its head against Bloomfield Hills in that one. Of course, Bloomfield Hills had a lot of layups and, of course, a lot of steals in that one. I mean, so, but when you look at others in the white division, it's clearly Groves, Royal Oak, and Oxford. And then, of course, in the blue division, there's a tie between Avondale and Farmington. Of course, I still think Farmington's a better team right now, but even though Avondale, I think in the long term I think they're better off in the long term. So when you look at them, I mean, Avondale right now, they've won 3 straight. They're starting to get it together, building chemistry, and of course, when you look at them, I really like the direction that Morton's taken that team over there at Avondale. I mean, he's done a really magnificent job in his 2 years down there at Avondale. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, there's good games, a lot of matchups that are interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think the Lake Orion Adams one's very interesting on Tuesday. I mean, because that's a very interesting one. Because when you look at that matchup,
That's home and
it's
at Lake
home
Orion, correct?
at Lake Orion. It's at Lake Orion. So when you look at that one, I think that's an interesting game to say the least in that one.
I think
so,
we'll have that one on ONTV probably next week.
So we'll see what happens in that one going forward. Okay, now everybody, I'm going to sign on off here. Of course, keep an eye on the blog. Of course, it's Sammy@blogspot.com. We're still keeping an eye on the Troy Athens football coaching situation, how that's unfolding there. So we'll see what happens down there in Troy. But of course, I want everybody here around the OA Oakland County community here to support the Orion Fish Drive coming up this weekend.
Yep.
And of course, we'll see what happens going forward. Again, everybody, I'm signing off here. Take care, everybody. God bless, and see you all next week.
Thanks, Sam. That's right. The ONTV Food Drive is Saturday the 10th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Donations can be made right now at the ONTV studios around Lake Orion. Visit our website at orionontv.org for more information where you can drop off your donated items. See ya!